decapitation, multiple planes struck by lightning, and a fatal lion attack. No, this wasn't your average week at Mike Tyson's house. These and so many other horrific incidents are proof of the real cursed production behind The Omen, and this video will look at them all. Seriously, if you thought the movie was creepy, it was Toy Story in comparison to what happened behind the cameras. This was a list of horrific coincidental events that little Damien could only dream of. I spent far too long looking into this disturbing curse so you didn't have to. We all know that lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice, right? But in the case of Antichrist Horror 1976's The Omen, it struck 4 times and it struck planes. The first strike was in the year before The Omen's release. Lead actor Gregory Peck's plane was hit by Zeus as he travelled to London to film. Peck, already in a bad place mentally after the suicide of his son earlier in the year, now found himself in another bad place, quite literally, as the plane was hit mid-flight. Scary, but no injuries, and luckily, no crash. So if you were Damien, you'd be pretty disappointed. You'd want your money back from the occult section of Walmart. How about a second lightning strike? The executive producer on the movie, Mace Neufeld, was hit on his own transatlantic journey, describing it as his roughest 5 minutes ever on a plane. Someone clearly hasn't joined the Mile High Club. So 2 aviation lightning hits are weird, but not completely crazy. What about a turkey of strikes? Screenwriter David Zeltzer's plane was also struck as he made a similar journey. Now something creepy is up, especially when you add in the fact that producer Harvey Bernhard narrowly avoided being ended by a lightning bolt on the street. Understandably so, for the rest of the shoot, he carried a cross at all times. He would later say of the production that the devil was at work, explaining, and he didn't want that film made. Any Indiana Jones fans can relate to that when it comes to the more modern sequels. But back to the plane-related horror now. Yes, there is more. The commercial lightning magnets may all have landed safely, but the same wasn't true for the private jet that the movie needed. This was chartered to get Peck on location for an action scene. It was one of the few blessings bestowed on The Omen because the same plane, on the day Peck was due to fly, hit a flock of birds and crashed on a nearby road. Tragically, everyone on board was killed, but the tragedy doesn't end there. As I said, the plane crashed on a road, but it didn't just crash into the road, it crashed into a car carrying 3 people, killing them all. But it gets stranger, as the 3 people in the car turned out to be the wife and 2 children of the jet's pilot. There's unfortunate, and then there's something demonic at play, and we've only just started getting warmed up. This list continues, and rivals the length of the average day in hell. So obviously, you can't have a curse without some tragic deaths. So which was the most horrific on the set of The Omen? It was one that scarily mirrored one of the accidents seen in the finished movie, and it happened a year after The Omen set appeared to be trying to claim everyone's souls who went anywhere near it. On Friday the 13th of August 1976, special effects supervisor John Richardson was driving in his BMW with his girlfriend Liz Moore. They were in Holland, where Richardson was working on the production of A Bridge Too Far. The BMW was involved in a crash just after midnight. Richardson walked away from the crash in a daze, but tragically Moore was beheaded in the accident. It was eerily similar to the gruesome scene Richardson had designed for The Omen, where the photographer who's helping Robert Thorne is killed when decapitated by a sheet of glass that flies off a construction vehicle while driving. When Richardson got up after the collision, he noticed a signpost nearby pointing to the nearest town of Omen, which was 20 kilometers away, but the kilometer marker where it happened read 66.6. And as if his day couldn't get any worse, he then had to convert kilometers into miles. The next death happened during production, only a day after one of the cast members had been seriously assaulted by animals on set. Rottweilers that were used to portray the hellhounds, as if under the control of Damien himself, would very often turn and attack their trainers, and they also seriously injured stuntman Terry Walsh. They say you shouldn't work with children or animals, but they clearly didn't listen to that advice on this movie. A scene in the film where Kathy Thorne, played by Lee Remick, and Damien drive through a safari park and are attacked by baboons is made horrifically vivid by the actress's terrified reaction. Turns out her professional training wasn't needed at all. The baboons were so vicious, her reactions in the film are genuine terror. These vicious primates were trying to rescue an alpha male that had been planted on the back seat to rile them up. Oh, and they also hadn't been fed. They might as well have put a female baboon in there with a bikini made of bananas. According to producer Mace Neufeld, of one of the lightning planes fame that we looked at earlier, Remick was terrified. but this was nothing in comparison to the angry animal that one of the zoo's animal handlers had to deal with the very next day. It was a lion, and so this attack claimed another unfortunate soul on this most cursed of sets. Not only that, but it was on the same day another dramatic tragedy hit the crew behind the movie. It's a miracle that anyone stuck around to roll the cameras after all of this. The accidents and near misses kept on coming. So is there one that ultimately confirmed that Curse really was covering this movie? Well, we have some literally explosive incidents to look at next. Maybe the most dangerous near miss came close to taking the life of producer Mace Neufeld. You know Mace, lightning plane and terrified guy from earlier. Seems like Damien wanted it in for him the most. Maybe he forgot to buy him an ice cream or something. Mace and his wife just escaped being blown up during production by those enthusiastic Irish troublemakers known for their love of explosives. They were carrying out attacks all over London, the Irish blokes, not Mace and his wife, while The Omen was being filmed there. Mace and Mrs. Mace were staying at a Hilton hotel that was destroyed by a bomb, but luckily for them, they weren't in the building at the time. Maybe Mace was just trying to walk off the jet lag. But this wasn't the end of the explosive escapes. Just a few days later, after wrapping the movie, the producers and Gregory Peck all headed out for dinner, only to discover that the restaurant they had been planning to eat in had only just been blown up as well. That's 2 narrowly avoided attacks in just a matter of days. Coincidence? Sure. If you think 4 lightning strikes, a plane crash, a decapitation, crazy baboons, hungry lion and 2 bombings are all coincidences. Sounds more like the itinerary of a holiday camp from hell. But that's not where the story ends. In fact, it just gets more bizarre. The curse continued to disrupt anything and anyone who went near the Omen right into the 21st century. For example, 2005, while filming a documentary about the curse itself, producer Alan Tyler found that 2 different camera crews in 2 different locations had the exact same technical problems with the footage they filmed. And in 2006, the bang average remake of the film saw 2 separate incidents. Why do studios continue to remake classic movies? Well, this is one they really should have left alone. During filming, Pete Postlethwaite, who plays Father Brennan, found out that his brother Michael died suddenly after being dealt 3 sixes in a row during a game of cards. Although maybe he just got excited that he finally won a game of poker.
You lost, bro.
Then there was another incident that saw footage of the scene where actor Liv Schreiber finds the devil's birthmark on Damien become strangely destroyed while being processed. And we're not done yet. Yet another Omen movie production was also cursed. This time it was the prequel, the first Omen. The movie's director, Arkasha Stevenson, has said that she was filming a scene in a piazza and felt kind of odd. After speaking to someone on set, they said it was the circumference of the place, 666, assuming this was in meters, not inches. Then there was the eerie story that Nell Tiger Free, who plays the lead role of Margaret, has told, recounting another creepy incident. She said that during a possession scene, people, not narcotics, she was staring at Ralph Ineson's necklace. He plays Father Brennan, a character that seems cursed himself, and had this crucifix on for shooting. After being transfixed on it for a long period of time, she said, it just snapped in half, this crucifix, and just fell off his neck. See, the thing is, cursed necklaces will do that. Check the small print next time.